Hari Om. Let's start with the prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Satha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Rudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are now looking at what is moksha or means for moksha. For means more moksha depends upon what is the nature of the bondage. So, ko nama bandhaha katamesha agataha. So, student when asked the teacher, so ko nama bandhaha, what is bondage, and katam esha agataha, and how did this bondage came, and katam pratishtaha, how did this bondage got firmly rooted, and then Kadam Vimokshaha, how do we get free from bondage? So these are the 4 questions that were asked, and the next 3 questions related to Kosavanatma, Paramahka Atma, Tayor Vivekaha. So what is Anatma and what is Atma, and what is the difference between the two? So total 7 questions were asked by the student, and the teacher addressed first what is Anatma and what is Atma. So what is Anatma is completely the whole universe being defined, that which is not a subject, anything that can be objectified comes under Anatma. Whether it's a tangible or intangible in terms of thoughts wise, that's also Anatma. So everything that is not a subject is an object, and anything that is objectified is inert, and that comes under not Atma or Anatma. And what is Atma? Atma cannot be defined because it's a subject cannot be defined. Subject is that which cannot be objectified. So he only defines that which is not, that which is Anatma, and that is different from Anatma but still exists. It's not emptiness as in the Buddhism. It is something that I am the subject but which cannot be objectified as I am this. Even though by confusion or because of lack of understanding, I say I am this, I am this, I am this, and so on, but I cannot be this, and that which is not this is Atma. So that's how he defined the Atma. So first defining Anatma, and what is not Anatma is Atma. So therefore, first addressing the later part of the questions, Kosavanatma, Paramahka Atma, what is Anatma and what is Atma, and how to differentiate the two. So any differentiation belongs to Anatma only, that which cannot be differentiated, because differentiation involves qualification. That means it should have an attributes for me to differentiate one object from other objects. So therefore, since it is not an object, I cannot be defined, but I know I exist and I know I am conscious entity. So I don't need a scriptures to tell me that you are an existent entity or you are a conscious entity. Because I am existent and conscious entity, scriptures come and tell me you are beyond just pure existent and consciousness, you are also Ananda Swarupa. And that's because I am looking for Ananda. All these things have to be understood, and at the same time, what is that moksha also has to be clear. So what is Anatma and what is Atma, and how to differentiate this has been clearly described in the past. And now what is a bondage? Bondage is taking Anatma as Atma. That means I am taking what I am not as I am. Starting from I am this body, I am this mind, I am this intellect. I am not the body because I am conscious of the body. Whatever I am conscious of is different from the subject that who is conscious of. So anything that is conscious of is an inert object that I am conscious of. Therefore, I am a subject different from what I am conscious of. I am conscious of the body, I am conscious of the mind, I am conscious of the intellect, and anything that can be quantified or objectified, I am not that. So therefore, but I am taking that as I am, because all my transactions are involving that identification with the body, with the mind, or with the intellect only. And I don't have any third instrument for me to identify. So the body, mind and intellect all together constituting of Sthula Sariram and Sukshma Sariram. And in the subtle, in the deep sleep state, I say I am there, but I am not identifying with either the Sthula Sariram or Sukshma Sariram. So using what the logic says, Anvaya Vyatireka. Anvaya Vyatireka is a logic that has been used extensively in scriptures. Anvaya Vyatireka means one is there and other is there, and one is not there and other is not there. That means they are two dependent each other, and they are so together that both have to be either present or both have to be absent. So Anvaya means both are existing. That means when it is there and other one is there, that's called Anvayam. And when it's not there, other one is also not there, that's called the Vyatirekam. But in the case of, if you apply that logic, says I am there and the body is there in the waking state. Therefore, I am the body. That's how we understand normally. So when I go to a deep sleep state, I am there, but the body conscious is not there. That means Vyatireka does not work. Even though body is not there or conscious of the body is not there, I am still there because I say I slept very well. So I was there to sleep very well. So using the Vyatireka, which doesn't apply, which doesn't is valid in the deep sleep state, I conclude that I am different from the body because I am there and body is not there. Just as the gold is there, ring is there, that is Anvayam, but gold is still there even when there is no ring also. Therefore, the gold is of different order of reality compared to the ring. The same way, I am of a different degree of reality compared to the body. Same way, mind, intellect. So all the equipments are there in the waking state and the dream state. But in the deep sleep state, I am not conscious of the mind, not conscious of the body, and therefore either Antakarana or even the gross body is I am not conscious of, but I am there. That is what is called Anvaya Vyatireka logic. By using that, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am something other than that. But in all my transactions, whenever I suffer the consequence of in samsara, or whenever I suffer in this world, is because of intense identification with the body, with the mind, with the intellect. So Sitoshna Sukha Dukkeshu, so Manapamana Yoho, Sitam, Ushnam, Sukham, Dukkham, Manam, Apamanam or Avamanam, all these things are depending upon either body level or the mind level or the intellect level. When the body is cold, I say I am feeling cold. When the body is hot, I say I am feeling hot. So people complain whether in the different seasons. In the winter, they complain about the cold. In the summer, they complain about the hot, because the body going through the temperature cycles. But I am also identifying with the body. I say I am feeling cold and I am feeling hot and so on. So that is Sitam Ushnam. That is just contradictory experiences of the body is taken as my own experience. And Sitam Ushnam Sukham Dukkham, happiness and unhappiness is also properties of the mind, because when the desires are fulfilled, mind is happy. When the desire is not fulfilled, mind is not happy. So Kama, Krodha, the desires and not fulfilling, and anger, all those emotions are come in the rising in the mind, and I identify myself. I have the desire, I am happy, I am unhappy. So all my sufferings is because of identification with the moods of the mind. In the deep sleep state, I am neither happy or unhappy. That means I am not identifying with this, but I am happy in the sense that the absence of the duality, that means the subject-object relationships are not there, therefore I am independent of all those relationships, and therefore I am free from all mental agitations, and therefore I am happy. Its absence of suffering is what is experienced as a happiness in the deep sleep state. It's also called reflected happiness. But my nature is also Ananda Swarupam, that comes with the knowledge. That is Swarupa Jnanam. And the Vedanta says essentially, there in the deep sleep state, I know I am there, at the same time I don't know anything. That means ignorance is there, and therefore I don't know anything means there is no subject-object duality, knowledge of subject-object duality. Therefore I am happy. At the same time I have no knowledge of anything. I have no knowledge of my own existence, because I have been experiencing my existence through the equipments only, through the body, mind, intellect. I say I am there. Because even to say that I am there, and even to experience my own existence, I need the instruments, body, mind, intellect. Because pure Atma, pure Satchidananda Atma is purely existence itself, is its nature, but it cannot know that its own existence without the instruments of knowledge. Even though knowledge is its own nature, to know that I am existing, it needs an instrument to see. Just as to know that, to see my face, I know I have a face, but what do? I do to see my face. I need a mirror, and looking at the mirror and looking at my reflection in the mirror and seeing the image in the mirror of my face, then say, yes, I have a face and I have eyes, and my eyes are red. All that I will not know otherwise, unless there is something reflection or pratibimba. The same way, the reflection consciousness, looking at the reflecting consciousness, I had to recognize I am the original consciousness. So we went through the analysis of what is Jiva. Jiva consists of original consciousness, then the reflected consciousness or conditioned consciousness, which is called Chidabhasa, and the reflecting medium in which the consciousness is getting reflected, and that medium is nothing but the subtle body and the causal body, the subtle body, and the gross body. That means all the three bodies are getting activated by the reflected consciousness or pratibimba, because of that consciousness that is pervading all through. So consciousness is all the time there. At the same time, it is essentially because of which I am able to see myself. So how do I know? Moksha and the means of moksha has to be clear. Pure consciousness doesn't need any moksha. It is all the time pure, undifferentiated. It is pure Satchidanandam. So no jnanam is required, no ajnanam is also there. It is ever existing, and no words can reach there. Since that even the mind and the word come back without reaching that, because you cannot quantify it, you cannot say anything, you cannot even say Advaita also, as in the Mandukya Karika Gaudapada explains, nothing can be said about it, because it is pure existent consciousness, one without a second. But when once I am in the creation, so creation itself is not really real, but because only thing that is real according to Advaita is absolutely real, that we defined as Brahman, and we went through all the criticisms of other acharyas about the reality, and we proved that even they also accept something unchanging is there as absolutely real, and they call the other one changing as a relatively real, but we call it is that relatively real is what we call Vyavaharika Satyam. And also we have pratibhasika satyam as just as when I am in the dream world, and for me that is real. For a dreamer, dream is not a dream, but that's a real. And for me, I see varieties of differences of all objects there, and for me it is real there in the dream. Only when I am awakened to the higher state of consciousness or higher state of understanding that I recognize that was not real. In the waking state also, I see everything is real, but because the five senses are bringing information, therefore I say it is real. But the scripture says this is also like a dream. Even in the dream also, all your five senses are there, and you are able to see, hear, touch, and so on and so forth. And that's how the Mandukya Upanishad says Ekona Vimsati. It says Ekona Vimsati. That means there are 19 gateways. So Vimsati means 20, one less than 20. That is 19 gateways through which I am interacting with the world, both in the waking state and as well as the dream state. These two are parallel statements made in the Mandukya Upanishad, saying that waking state and the dream state are somewhat similar. And people say dream state is different from waking state. Dream state is also exactly identical. Only problem is dream state does not have a viveka. I cannot develop a discriminative faculty to know that what is real and what's not real. Whereas in the waking state, I am blessed with the mind, with the viveka. I can develop by practice through Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. I can develop the viveka required to differentiate what is nityam and what is anityam, what is eternally real and what is only relatively real. That's viveka is required. And that's what moksha involves. Therefore, knowing very well who is that I am, what is the cause, because karanam is important to know. Karanam is the cause, karyam is the products. And in the last talk we mentioned that karanam alone is one, because we are talking about one cause from which the whole universe came, and we are talking about the material cause. It itself became many, so that one cause, karanam, and the others are products which are called karyam. Karyam means product, and karyam can be many, and each one has the different qualities, attributes. So all the attributes or differentiation, everything only belongs to karyam, not to the karanam. Karanam is the cause, one cause beyond all these attributes. So rings attributes, bangle attributes, bracelets attributes do not belong to the gold in the example of gold becoming ornaments, which scripture itself provides. But gold is different from a mud, because this is only an example. We cannot extend that example beyond its application. But at the same time, what the example says is, if there is a karanam from which the whole karyam is the cause, material cause from which the whole products are come. The products may have differences, but those differences do not belong to the karanam. And that karanam is the cause. And what is the karanam cause for the whole universe itself? And that's why Vedanta or all sciences are trying to find out what is the cause. That's an inquiry. So any scientific inquiry involves what's the cause for this behavior. So therefore, the scientist is looking for another object only for karanam, whereas the Vedantic scientist says, I have to investigate the total system here, not only the objects, but the subject who is trying to investigate the objects, because we want to know the fundamental cause for both subject-object duality too. And that's why Vedanta becomes absolute science, and it says Brahman alone was there and it became many. And we went through all the analysis. Brahman cannot really become many, because Brahman means infiniteness, cannot undergo any modification in becoming. But therefore, since I see creation, I take it granted this is only apparent creation. So all this is to be crystal clear when we are analyzing the creation and who is creating, what is the difference of karanam and karyam. So from the point of Brahman, how do we define a Brahman? Either Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam Brahma. So from the point of pure the Swarupa Lakshana, that means intrinsic nature is, it's a pure existence and without any qualifications. Why existence itself is not a quality? If existence is a quality, then because some acharyas have questioned that Sat Chit Ananda is also a qualities of Parabrahman. So if Sat and Chit and the Anantam are qualities of the Parabrahma, then we are talking about if existence is a quality, the locus of the quality should be different from the existence. That means if existence is a quality, it's an attribute, the locus should be different from the attribute. And if say blue lotus, blueness is different from lotusness. In the same way, existence has to be different from the locus of existence. If the locus has to be different from existence, only thing that is different from existence is only non-existence. Because everything else has to be existed only. Therefore, only thing that is different from existence is non-existence, and we are making a statement, non-existence is a locus for existence. It's a contradiction in terms. Therefore, existence cannot be a part, a property, or a product of the truth. It is the truth itself. It is essentially the fundamental nature of that which is Karanam. And everything else has to have that plus something else. So when gold became many ornaments, gold still persists in the ornaments. So gold plus something else on top of gold, that is essentially the attributes of a ring, a form and a color and the ID, OD, all other attributes that we can superimpose on top of gold. Top of means not just gold on top something else. It is essentially that which doesn't belong to the gold, and gold is the adhishtanam. So ontologically we have to differentiate. The reality of the gold is different from reality of the ring. That's exactly what we meant by Mithya and Satyam. So what is more real? The gold is more real. It is unchanging, whether the ring becomes a bangle and a bangle becomes a necklace and so on. But attributes of the gold are changing into attributes of a bangle, attributes of a bangle is changing into attributes of the necklace. But gold attributes don't change. But in this case, example, gold is only limited, but we are talking about pure Sat, which is Satchidanandam, doesn't have any attributes, that still persists in every object, just as gold is persisting in every object. Therefore, when I want to see a gold, I can only see gold in some form superimposed on gold. I cannot just see AU. AU means gold, the symbol in chemistry, but I cannot see gold without having a form for me to see. The same way, I cannot see pure existence, which is imperceptible, without having a form, and every form has to come from them. So every form is nothing but existence only in different forms with the different attributes, each differing from one another. So differences are only at the level of superficial names and forms of the object, just as the rings and bangles and bracelets are different, their utility is different, their perceptibility is different, and all differences are at that level of transactions only. So transactionally they are different, utilities are different, ring is different from utility and a bangle, etc., etc. Therefore, from the Brahman point, none of these things belong to Brahman. From the gold point, none of those things belong to gold. But the value or the substance is nothing but the gold. I cannot have a ring without the gold. So ring's existence depends on the existence of the gold. So without the gold present, there cannot be any golden ring. And at the same time, so the existence itself cannot be removed. So every universe, the whole universe itself is nothing but Brahman only in various names and forms. Therefore, I have to see in and through every object what is the substratum that is supporting the whole universe. That is the knowledge now. So what is moksha? Moksha is recognizing what is Brahman. And why do I need to know Brahman? Because I am looking for happiness. What is the relation between Brahman and happiness? Brahman means infiniteness, and happiness is I will be happy only when I am limitless. Any limitation will cause me suffering, because still I need this and so on. The desire to possess or desire to become infinite seems to be intrinsic, because my nature is infinite, and when I take myself I am a finite, I do not like it. So intrinsically there is a longing to become infinite, and I cannot become infinite by adding finite things. And that's what I've been trying all my life, in fact life after life after life. So what is jnanam? Jnanam is to understand aham brahmasmi, I am Brahman. But Brahman itself is not an object of knowledge, and therefore how exactly has to be understood, as we were discussing in terms of akhandara vritti and how the jnanam has to come. We'll go into more details, because we are talking about not only what is bondage, how did it get established, and how do I get out of this bondage. Now we are addressing slightly how do we get out of this, that is moksha. And once we understand it, then we go into more details of how we got into this rut, and we need to slowly come out of this rut and recognize our intrinsic nature. This will go into the next talk. With this we'll stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.